Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the ALttP All Dungeons Restricted Major Glitches League. We've got a castle lobby matchup between Kaesden and JDSilvergun. Commentating this race, we have Human and Malmo, and I will leave it to the two of you.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing, Chex?
Good, thank you, Malmo. It's All Dungeons League Week 3, the final week of the league, and it's restricted major glitches, as it has been all season, so I'm looking forward to seeing a glitched race.
A little background on the runners. Kaesden is a relatively new runner of this category and is running on the early hook silvers route. So this is, you do Eastern first, and then you get the silvers and do the escape, and then you do pod and hook. JDSilvergun does a modified world record route with some differences in shopping later on, but it's going to involve an early basement clip using a bottle, and then some similar routing to the early hook, but with some ice rod and flippers being done in different splits, I believe, than normal. So we'll just let that happen when it happens.
Right. Yeah, I see ether flippers in, well, let's see, so that's in Kaesden splits.
Yeah, so
yeah,
JD does flippers at the time you would normally do ice rod. So after Desert and Mire, they do this clip down to Zora's Domain. And then they do I think the Eastern First Dungeon Order from there on, and do ice rod after ice. They're the only person running this route in League right now. In fact, maybe the only person who's ever run this version of the route with the basement clip.
Right.
So I've seen this done without the basement clip before.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of different routes this league, which is pretty fun to see. It's been a very interesting league, a little different, obviously, than NMG League, which mostly has the same route for everybody, with minor collection differences. But All Dungeons is full of difference, basically.
NMG is a pretty prescribed dungeon order. There's not really much you can change except for the order you do your shopping, and then some very minor dungeon order changes if you get silver arrows. But All Dungeons is a very modular category where you can mix and match different routes in ways that suit yourself. A lot of people have picked up routes that they found to be a good balance between consistency and speed. And some of them are running the route that they do attempts in, and some of them are not. Some of them are being very experimental with their routes, although I didn't see as much of that as I expected. A lot of people, there are a couple people who said that they would like maybe run a different route in each race, and then when they got down to it, they actually just found a route they really liked and ran it every time. So that was a big surprise for me this year.
Yeah, it's certainly a little, nerve-wracking to race, and going for something that's out of your comfort zone just adds to the difficulty of the race experience.
I believe what it came down to is people actually realized that they cared a lot about the races. Going into it, they thought, well, the races are just an excuse to do a bunch of runs, and I'll meme around in the race and then take it seriously when I'm doing attempts offline. But actually, it seems like everybody in this league has been taking the races pretty seriously. As we see both runners going into the castle to do the first glitch in the game, which is arming EG, and then getting a state called Lonk to ensure that they take the right kind of damage outside the castle to get knocked into a state where they can walk through sprites. It's a little different from the out-of-bounds EG that's banned in this category, because it's in the overworld. You can't actually use it to go out of bounds, so it's allowed.
I can't believe it. A category that used to be called All Dungeons No EG, and we allow EG in it.
Oh goodness, Kaesden got an RMG from this guard that
It's hard to get yourself in position once the guard reaches the top. Wow.
Yeah. I
There we
think
go.
normally with that RNG, you want to like tink the wall to aggro the guard. The Kaesden was just standing there and trying to time his movement. It was a little risky. It wasn't guaranteed to succeed, but it did work, and that's what mattered.
Really neat to see both runners get lonk at approximately the same time. Because that can go haywire.
For sure.
Right off the bat. So there's more to this overworld. It's a gauntlet of glitches right away.
The next thing they'll do here is split up.
Yeah.
They're already divergent. JD is going west to get to eastern, and Kaesden is going east to get to eastern.
Right, I forgot JD does this.
JD has some shopping to do on the way, which is why they're going this way in the first place. Because Kaesden will enter eastern first, assuming this clip goes well. JD gets bottle and bug net. The bottle is required for a glitch. The bug net is a safety, taking advantage of the fact that they have a bottle.
Yeah.
Normally, if you get a bottle in NMG, it's purely a safety, but for JD, it's actually optimal to get the bottle. And the bug net is the safety.
Yeah.
And always freeing the chicken as well. It's not a safety for themselves, it's a safety for the chicken.
It is. Yeah.
Kaesden is doing, I've actually seen this before. I don't know what this is, but it works. Do you know what that is?
No. I don't.
I've never seen this river fought, except I think I saw Kaesden do it once. So like, it's clearly something he knows how to do. But it's not a version I've seen. I don't know if it's like some old boomer strat for like any percent or something, but
no, that doesn't really exist on that kind of slope because we all learned from Blank doing the funny auto walk thing. Eastern fought.
JD is doing a citrus clip. It's not really new anymore, but it's one of the more modern ways to do a clip into left side slopes.
Yep.
They're trying to do it without select buffers. JD hates select buffers. Like, this isn't just them try-harding. This is like they just hate select buffers and will do anything to avoid it. And on this screen is, they have to be very careful here. Because if they get nudged to the right or walk right, they will lose all their progress and have to reset.
Even holding up, I'm sweating. Because I don't want a phantom diagonal.
That's true.
And and then infinite scroll. Alright, so now we're in Eastern.
They're not that far apart, which I guess kind of puts JD a little bit ahead because they should be farther apart than they are, but they both had a little bit of trouble with the clips. Or maybe Kaesden just does that clip that way all the time and it's just a slower clip. Because it's not one I'm familiar with.
I'll be looking at it again because that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks like he goes like really deep into the rail using almost like manual clip technique rather than the river fought that we usually do. Eastern's the same. There's really no difference between Eastern here and NMG besides the heart difference.
Yeah, I'm doubting myself now. I could be wrong about that kind of clip, but regardless, we'll find out more from Kaesden later, potentially.
I think one minor difference between here and NMG is the rupee route. Like, NMG only wants rupees if you're doing tree rupees. All dungeons only wants rupees for certain routes as well. JD will hope to get 10 here to reduce the number of chests they have to open in back of Saha's closet for the potion purchase. Kaesden does not care about rupees at all.
Right.
The first rupees they will spend will be in the smith, and they will have already gotten the 300 in brewery by the time they get there.
Yeah. And JD is picking up the bow. Kaesden now going back of Eastern.
JD has to menu very carefully around that bottle because it opens a sub-menu that slows you down.
It does, yeah.
It's easy to get stuck in it. Your normal menu directions don't work when you're in the bottle sub-menu.
Yeah.
They also do this route regularly, so they're used to it.
Right.
Kaesden getting ready to grab arrows. The arrow route is really important in the early game. There is a glitch that requires 6 arrows coming up, and Kaesden will need arrows for pod and arrows for that glitch. Having silver arrows will, I think, reduce the number needed for pod. JD will have a similar issue of needing arrows for the early hook shot, but will not have silvers. But also won't be doing pod normally. So they won't be spending arrows in pod, at least. Both of them missing the Armos quick kill. Maybe in the same way. I saw JD fired 6 to the right, and you want to fire 5. I didn't see how Kaesden missed his. But what it resulted in is that Kaesden now has 6 arrows. I think he wants more than that. Not only is he going to use arrows in pod, he's actually probably going to use them in the escape too. He might have to collect extra arrows in pod when he's there. JD has enough. They will use 1 to do a teleport to the potion shop. It's using the bow animation to buffer the movement.
Yeah, that is a slick movement. It's sort of... So, I have to mention Yuzahara, who developed the world record route quite a bit in 2001. And Yuzu's strats are always kind of eye-opening if you haven't watched them specifically. So the bow is just one example. Using it to buffer Link's movement by 1 frame. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the reason it's used and not like a sword is because you're in spin speed here, so you can't use the sword. JD's also doing something we call a grab buffer, which we'll also be seeing in the basement clip. I don't know how grab buffers work, but I think it has something to do with sliding your finger off of A onto Y or something to get the
that's
Kaesden
exactly
just hard locked.
No, I can't believe it.
I don't know how that happened.
No.
There was some thing went wrong with the Death Mountain ascent where
you don't want to jump that way, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't see how he got there, but he landed on the transition in a way that was very bad.
Yeah, I didn't quite see how Kaesden got onto the top of the cliff. But yeah, then you had to be careful jumping down, which was hard to know,
Yeah, it's rough in the early game. I guess the best thing you can do is, you can reset and just do another run. And it's still in the race. You can at least have a chance to PB. But it's hard to want to do that.
It's not from the very beginning. If you reset, it's from sword. But it's not, you have to do almost the whole
You could delete your save file and start again. There's no rule against that.
That's true.
If you're in an unsalvageable, we try not to. There's actually a rule. It says don't reset just because you failed long, and don't forfeit just because you had a +30 Eastern entry.
Yeah,
but
I
stuff
was
like this
in the middle of my race when I was on Restream. I shouldn't have done that. But I wasn't going to reset, but I did post that I wanted to reset. But yeah.
So Kaesden will continue from his last save and quit, which is at the uncle. His EG is no longer armed, so he will have to arm it again.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, JD's doing the defining part of the run for them, for this route, which is the Cave State pod. You want to explain why we do Cave State pod?
Yeah, so we are... Well, first of all, we're going to pod through Spectacle Rock, which they are sort of connected via the underworld at the edges of the map, top and bottom. So once we are in Cave State, we'll continue to be in Cave State throughout the whole underworld. We can open doors in Cave State, and then we can progress to getting the big key, which gives us additional big keys due to cave state, and then we can grab the hammer, and after that comes the basement clip. So that's where JD will take advantage of the potion that they picked up, and they'll be unlocking the big door to Helma, because we won't have the Palace of Darkness big key. But we will be able to use this big key that they pick up right here to unlock the door now.
And the reason we can use that is complicated, but it has to do with some of the keys that key gives us. One of them just happens to work in caves. It's really lucky that it works that way. This route wouldn't be possible if the cave state big key didn't give you a key that works in caves.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny to think about. You wouldn't be able to get the hammer, you wouldn't be able to unlock the pod door.
Right. I feel like I take it for granted that it opens the place that
and
you
it's arbitrary. Like the code is it just happens to hit parts of the code that say like you have these keys, and when you're in the cave it happens to look for certain keys, and they happen to overlap by one. And that one being the Hyrule Castle big key. It's in some ways the least consequential cave state big key, the Hyrule Castle key, because it lets us like skip ball and chain guard. It's like what, a few seconds, but the fact that it gives us that key is the reason we can do this route, which I hadn't thought about until now. It's actually one of the most consequential big keys that we get. I missed Kaesden's river fought, but it's actually it looked like it went well. It looked the same as last time.
Yeah, it looked good. Yeah, it's Zelda. I love the way it works. The glitches are always it's like they never, the stories that come out of glitches never end.
So JD gets a successful first part of the glitch, which is arming super speed. And you have to get spin speed, and then you have to go into the door with the bottles. The bottle is it's a buffering into the door. It's not really like a YBA or anything like that. But it allows you to get just deep enough into the door without taking the transition to get spin speed off of the stairs. It's the same as pot spin speed, if you've seen that. People memeing around in Hair Basement, which, by the way, this lets us skip.
Right.
And then the second part is this teleport, which is...
Yeah, this is... the teleport is one of the most annoying parts.
We hate this part. It's like, you would think the rail clip is the worst part, because it's so precise, but the teleport is really annoying. Even though you get to retry again and again, because you don't lose spin speed failing to teleport. But once JD is in the rail and disarms spin speed, that's it. This has to succeed, or else they will not be able to do the clip now. They'll have to come back later and do it with the cane. Lose a lot of time.
So far, so good. This pattern will just be repeated. Looks like we're already there. Yeah, well done. We're on the bottom part now. There we go.
Nice hammer
well
buffer.
Done.
Yeah, you saw the avoidance of select buffers there, and there's us using the Hyrule Castle big key to unlock that door. Now JD will rescue Zelda. You have to rescue Zelda at some point for a few reasons. One of them is that it's in the rules that Zelda has to be rescued because it counts as a dungeon. And the other one is that the game is in this weird state called rain state until you've done so. And a lot of stuff doesn't exist that needs to exist, like the smith to get a sword, or the ether tablet, dropping ether.
Yeah, the game makes it extremely difficult to make progress in range state. Just escape is hard enough, but then getting any sword upgrade, it's kind of ridiculous.
Now, 3 out of 4 of the swords are locked behind ending rain state.
Yep.
And the reason we have this rule about rescuing Zelda is that you can also end rain state by killing Aga 1, which is also a dungeon. So if we didn't require rescuing Zelda, we might be doing that instead. Maybe.
And they are locked in. The swords are locked in the RMG rule set, but not in major glitches.
Huh. How do you get a sword in major glitches without ending rain state?
Check out a defeat Ganon run.
Oh, that's right. You use... Oh my gosh, yeah, you go into fake light world, right?
Yeah.
And you get the smith and he looks like a t-shirt. I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. I'd forgotten about that. But that's for another league.
Yes.
Defeat Ganon League. Is that how we bring back Meowski?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Alright, Kaesden has a second go at Death Mountain Ascent.
Alright, so here we are in Sanctuary. A very quick escape for Zelda.
Yeah, we're taking advantage of weird quirk in the game save and quit and spawn points code, where if you save and quit after talking to Zelda, your mirror spawn point resets to Sanctuary. Even if it didn't, it would still be really fast to take Zelda out with the mirror. It would probably still save time to do Eastern first, but this is really fast. Not only does it let us do Eastern first, but for someone on Kaesden's route, it also leaves behind a small key in the middle of the escape that he can collect for other purposes. JD doesn't need that key because the basement clip gives you a free Hera big key, so you don't have to open that door. No. They'll get this key, which is normally for the Hera big key, and spend it in Swamp instead.
Here we go. Kaesden made it into Old Man Cave.
Let's go. Kaesden recently learned a safer way to get off the mountain for silver arrows. And then I think doesn't do that. I think he actually does Brahmin Silver Surfer.
Okay, cool.
Which is also good. It is the fastest way to get silvers. It's relatively safe. The hardest part about Brahmin Silver Surfer, I think, is actually like remembering to screen wrap and not just going straight for the slope. So not only do you have to screen wrap, you also have to set your mirror portal. It's essential to the trick. So there it is. He's descending the mountain without fixing his camera.
Yeah, as Link... Notice that in the screen wrap, Link just continues moving down. So as Link keeps moving down, his global coordinates are moving down. So the coordinates are moving south far enough to be in front of the castle.
And one of the things that uses the global coordinates is the mirror portal placement. So that mirror portal is now in the castle courtyard. Kaesden clips out in a particular way to get past some of the collision in the out of bounds area, and then does a swim clip here to get back in bounds.
And we have a fake clippers for JD.
Yeah, we get dual clipping with swim. Okay, Kaesden's doing the thing I was wondering if would fix the problem, which is I think he was actually just too low on that slope and having trouble getting a swim clip because he wasn't actually on a slope. And he moved up a little to correct it and it worked. So, dashing into his portal, which is there, I promise. And funny enough, when you enter that portal, it gives you Super Bunny. Because it's like mirror Super Bunny, I guess. Huh. Alright, JD gets lucky. After getting hookshot, they farm a fairy here to take advantage of the bottle as a safety. I've been saying that basement clip is a safety, which is true in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is that you don't have to do Helmasaur early.
Yeah.
And the other one is that for JD you get a bottle, which is also a safety.
Yeah. All right,
now
there's the entrance to the castle for Kaesden.
JD will enter Thieves Town, which is normally a very dangerous split, but with the fairy bottle, it should be a little safer. They also have a nice heart total coming out of Hera. There is another factor of basement clip being a safety, which is that you don't have to take as much intentional damage to get the hook shot as you do without it. Because there's an extra bomb clip you do on Kaesden's route that deals 1 heart of damage. JD didn't have to do that. Not to mention the danger of like being in Hera basement. Tile room and the mold worms in the next room can damage you. You don't need that? The hearts are shiny, but they don't do anything.
Oh. The juke for Kaesden surprised me.
Huh. The Kaesden's on silver arrows. We'll just kill the ball and chain in 1 hit. JD gets a nice dash in that room. That room is normally pretty easy, but if you do the movement wrong and also get that RNG, you can get punished for it. A really nice non-God Pixel Hellway.
Yeah,
it was not an RNG for God Pixel, but they got basically the next best thing.
JD takes it easy with the buzzes and takes them out with a hook shot.
No, Kaesden also rescuing Zelda in the same way. The routes will be pretty synced up for a while until, like, between Hookshot and I think Desert Mire. And then JD will do some shopping that's different and maybe do pod after Flippers. And they'll split up again.
It looked like JD paused to read RNG. Like, Link stopped. I would recommend a pause buffer to hammer, but
yeah,
on the other hand, I cannot recommend that because JD likes the bomb strat.
When I started moving the pause buffer there, when I stopped doing the bomb strat, something happened to Kaesden. I think it was just a simple tried to get to pod and ended up somewhere else instead. It wasn't a catastrophic failure or anything. They'll just reset. Ooh, that's a really aggressive Zazak.
Traffic jam.
Blind cellmate.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, now Kaesden's in the right area to get to pod. It says, if you're wondering where he actually is, he's like in the clouds area near Ether Tablet, near the bridge, and then hopping back inbounds to get to Spectacle Rock Cave.
Yeah, it's funny. What we talk about in Rando is the clouds are made of water, which is just kind of true.
It is.
But we take advantage of their barriers, which Link splashes into, to clip back inbounds onto land, which is kind of a funny thing.
The funny thing about the clouds being made of water is they're actually like not made of water in the Dark World.
Right.
Kaesden's having a little bit of trouble with the Kiki skip. I think if he fails one more time, he will have to save scum his bombs.
Yeah.
There we go. Now he gets the teleport.
We got it.
And you can get palms back in pod.
This is true. Okay. We're good. Normally we pick up the left pot first and then the right side bomb.
Yeah, Kaesden's getting an extra bomb to get back on bomb route. Because resetting the dungeon here will respawn those bombs and we'll be able to get them again. He needs this key. So funny thing about basement clip route is that if you do both basement clips, you don't need any small keys in pod. If you only do one of them, then you get a key that's extremely on the way. And JD also skips the rupees in Brewery because there are rupees in pod basement that they already got.
Mm-hmm.
But it saves a big chunk of time. Like, somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds.
So, Palace of Darkness. Kaesden is going to be fighting Helma soon. Helma is normally a gatekeeper, but with silver arrows, we are so much safer.
Silver arrows are the classic safety for all dungeons. Even before we were doing Eastern First routing, people were getting silver arrows just to get past this dungeon.
Yeah.
In the 2020 All Dungeons tournament, this was the main route difference people did.
Right.
Everyone was doing escape first, but some people were getting silvers and some were not.
I want to say Kyong92 had the best times with silvers, but I'm not totally sure.
That doesn't surprise me because I know that when he was in that tournament, he learned the fastest silver strat just off the bat. It was called Brahmin Silvers, which is not the same as Silver Surfer.
Oh, yeah.
But he learned it because he's like, I might as well learn the fastest one if I'm going to do it. And he was doing Brahmin Silvers in the races and getting really good times with it.
I timed that and couldn't, I couldn't get it to be faster, but I think my movement was kind of wonky. But it was definitely a minor time save.
Can you get it to be faster than the normal, like, set up a portal and then clip off the mountain?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know that. Well, now Silver Surfer is definitely faster.
Yeah, and
it's
I need
also
to time that.
Not really that much harder. Like, if you're doing the classic Silvers clip off the mountain method, you're still doing a bunch of clips that you have to learn. So, you might as well learn that one. Meanwhile, we're doing some very NMG style dungeons between them. Kaesden, now just in the back of pod, has silver arrows, so it's safer. And
right.
JD just has like fewer hearts than normal, but otherwise it's the same.
Oh, we got a stuck mummy for JD. It looked like JD went on the offense and somehow.
That was interesting. Yeah, it worked.
Mummy got stuck.
Is that good?
Is it good? I don't know.
I want to know, like, is beaming that Gibdo just likely to put it in that stuck mummy state? Because I kind of like that.
Well, let's take a quick look here.
I love hearing Chex, like, get distant from his mic as he opens his practice app in the middle of commentary. It's great.
Yeah, JD just goes for it. That's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah. I want to watch more of that to see if it's, like, actually really good. And we've just been sleeping on it.
Yeah, so the beam is wide, right? So it can reach pretty far up and hit the Gibdo before it moves down below the edge of the wall.
Huh.
Because you can see the Gibdo starts high up on the screen.
Alright, he's Kaesden just doing a really quick Helma sword fight. Very good RNG too. Helma didn't juke the arrow or anything.
Ooh, good reaction for JD. Has to dodge the fire snake.
The heart matters a little bit just because they're on 5 hearts and Moth does 2. The 5 hearts is worth more than 4 hearts by a lot more than just 1 heart. They also seem to have done some kind of damage reduction because they're only missing 1 heart instead of 2. Or they got a heart from a bush. I missed that. It goes for a fire rod instead of the usual strat. Probably just taking advantage of the full magic drop that they got, but it hits the wrong enemy with it.
Okay. Mothula's a little bit stuck on the wall. Yeah, JD did use a nice dash. Has 2 hearts, has to be careful.
Oh. Going for the frame rules and select
down to 1
buffers.
heart.
I think they're on iframes and it's fine to just bounce off stuff, but I like this turn-based combat that we're getting here.
Oh, darn. Yeah.
They have a fairy, so it's not as dangerous as it looks. But
Oh,
the
that's
fairy
right, the
revival
fairy.
is really slow, and they want to keep the fairy for other things like mire.
Yeah, we just needed that last hit, and Moth is down.
Kaesden is now entering Hera, which is you'll see it. Notice that he's doing an extra clip that JD didn't do. Kaesden needs a small key for Swamp and a small key for Hera Basement.
Mm-hmm.
And this one deals
Does that
damage.
look? Is that good?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
interesting. Usually you would just like stand flush with the wall, or the pots are there and you're just like wedged in there with the pots. Looks like where he was standing was about where you would be if there were pots there. Yeah, another reason like that it's a little more dangerous to do this without basement clip is like we saw
Yeah.
Kaesden take damage from the Moldorm. That's what Moldorm JD didn't even have to think about
Right. The
until
gatekeeper.
now. JD will now be entering Hera for a different purpose because it is a dungeon and we have to do all of them. JD will do this dungeon now. It's optimal to do this now because it gives you a refill for mire.
Nice. Good hair pot.
Good not dashing through the water. I know you love that.
You love to see it. Ooh. Nice juke at the beginning of that Moldorm fight and fast fight. We can save frames when we catch pendants by catching them low. JD could save more frames by standing maybe 7 pixels lower, 7 or 8. But no more.
Doing a very careful hook speed out of there. Taking advantage of some newish tech of if you're on grid with that rock and you slam into Ether Tablet, it'll stop your movement, and then you can just move down and up again to read it.
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, I need that in my life.
It's really good tech. It's so much better than drunk driving around the tablet,
Uh-huh.
which is usually what you end up doing.
Yeah.
Kaesden getting, wait, I'm confused. Did I miss Kaesden getting hookshot?
Well, the thing is, it looks like Kaesden is getting it now using the casual strat.
Kaesden, I think, is
Pearl.
avoiding damage.
Yeah, I think that very well may be.
Because it's pretty, like, dangerous to exit this with, like, 1 heart, which is what would have happened. Or 2 hearts, in this case.
Oh, we're using the bomb clip.
That's why, yeah. Because this also deals damage.
Are we a little bit...
I don't remember how to
need
do
to
this
adjust?
checks.
Yeah, it's
I haven't done this in 3 years.
It's not even possible.
Oh, it's Kaesden.
By the way, nice screen scroll.
Seems possible. Kaesden makes
is
it possible. Nice
No,
grab.
I was memeing, but
it's just not possible to do this clip anymore because we're not boomers anymore. That's the problem.
we're Boots gamers.
We learned the boots method and never looked back because the bomb method is actually really hard.
Yeah, that's a kind of funny thing. Spleeby, I think is maybe Spleeby reacting to grabbing the hammer pegs to save on lag frames.
Mm-hmm.
I, for some reason, used to think you couldn't grab them, but you can.
You have to push the lever really low.
Yes. And
I think I did that like in one of my last 2 runs and realized that it was pushing the lever low that matters. It does actually save the 10 frames of lag, right? Even though you're entering the room differently?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Spleeby just thinks they can't be grabbed. Like,
yeah.
And some, like how chests can't be grabbed from certain directions.
Yeah. I was personally also mixed up on that as well.
Kaesden got a lot of positive rolls on those bushes, including the Awase skull, as I like to call it. I'm sure somebody could put that emote in chat if they have it. Ooh, we're having a party in the bomb slug room. You really don't want to take damage in this part of the dungeon, because you enter Vitreous with low health, even having full health.
All right, 37, 28 torches for JD. Or thereabouts.
The funny meme of reading torch times because everyone's on a different route. It's completely meaningless.
Yeah, adding 20 doesn't work here.
Is that what we used to do in all dungeons? We would add 20?
No, an NMG.
Oh,
We
like,
20.
it's your 20
20.
minutes until the end of the run. If
Yep.
you... Oh. That's assuming you don't lose your mind in GT.
Yeah, it also assumes you have Ice Rod.
There's something very cute about NMG's routing differences after watching these.
Oh,
JD's
yeah.
doing
It's extremely silly.
a safety key. He avoids the 3 damage you would take
Oh,
in the
yeah,
spec
yeah.
key.
Yeah, and then we...
And then you have to
are
deal with this
interrupting.
guy. Ooh,
Oh,
we can make
you
it.
get it.
Let's go.
Yeah, JD gets the job
Ooh.
done there. I love it.
Why are we
Oh
doing
my
that?
gosh.
we lifted the pot to didn't get the arrows, but got the bunny beam because it can go through walls. That's great.
I can't
okay.
believe it could go through that railing.
Lionel fire can't go through the rails, but a bunny beam can. That's some nonsense. Kaesden is on mirror
Why are we
still
doing
and can't
that?
defend himself. Most people would menu to hookshot or hammer here.
Yeah.
I think it's probably like break even or close to it to menu to hookshot and use it to get off the mountain.
Alright, we've got to be careful here.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good,
at least we got...
good.
By the way, JD's just on full
Here as
health
well.
now. And like leaves behind a heart. What a luxury.
Yeah, meanwhile, Kaesden is beeping. I'm not nervous at all.
JD now has the opportunity to beam the switch and boot Spooky 3 too fast and then get hit by the bunny beam.
Sure.
Which is a danger of doing that. Because you can be too fast in that room.
Alright, JD does the dash here. I run into that issue that
Yes.
JD just had.
It just barely off screens itself before it hits
Yeah.
the switch. It's such... You can even see it disappear. It's like, come on. You're not actually off screen. You're just being dramatic.
And then remembering they have beams is pretty huge.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, the JD got the fire sword deboost. I don't know if you saw that.
What does that mean?
It means that when JD got hit, his sword was fire rod themed.
Is that like the when you're like in Ganon and you're like using the fire rod at the end of the fight?
Yes.
And your sword becomes a lightsaber?
Yep.
Why did Kaesden get zapped?
Why did Kaesden get zapped? Let's find out. Nice Vitreous fight, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure. That sparked for a very long time.
I thought you were safe if you do that room with the walk, but I guess not.
I need to learn more about that because I don't really get it. Ooh, this is a fight.
Well, Blind is dead.
Yeah. Kaesden survives. All right, so another advantage of the Cave State Big Key is that JD has the Desert Big Key, so we'll not be going into the front of Desert. They'll go directly to the back.
Yeah, that's, I think, the last use of the Cave State Big Key in this run.
Yeah, I think that's correct. Oh, here we go. Nice beam strat.
Yeah, the beam strat. You only get to do this in routes that do Mire before Desert. Kaesden has to get these rupees.
Mm-hmm. I wonder who named it Brewery, because that came out of like...
I want to say that's
Rando.
Rando.
Yeah.
And I think it's named because it has those like kegs in it.
Yeah.
And like the Dark World has this whole like Vice theme going on. There's like gambling, there's thievery. So it's like, okay, there's probably also like, what do you call it? Like moonshining.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny thing about the Dark World is that it's not dark, canonically, it's bright. And you can tell it's bright because Blind says so when you try to take her outside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't thought about that in a long time. But
and also, like, a big beam of sunlight comes in through the roof when you bomb it.
Yeah, I think my child brain hooked onto that because I feel like you are you're kind of reminding me of like, you know, a thought that I would have about, you know, this game isn't internally consistent.
You know, I think it's metaphorically dark. It's like, these are dark times. Here's a clip that JD does that, you know, hardly anyone else does. This is Zora's domain map wrap. So instead of doing, like we have time, instead of doing the Ice Rod map wrap, which is a little dangerous, you do the Zora's one. If you succeed, it's pretty safe. It's not really any hard locking that can happen because you just transition instantly. Once you're in here, you're fine.
I love to see that because it's very strange. It's a strange,
it's a weird clip. It also looks kind of hard.
It is hard, and I have tried to learn it 2 times, and it's like I can never remember it after each session.
Yeah, there's like a cactus damage boost, and then you still have to manually line up a pixel. And then once you get clipped in, you can't just hold up left. You have to do some collision kicking to get on to the transition.
Yeah, and fun fact, it is a map wrap because we're touching the bottom of the desert screen and sort of warping to the edge of Zora's domain. So we are stuck on that screen. If we ever wanted to leave, we cannot. We'll hard lock as soon as we exit it.
Is that true, or do you just get forced back into the transition? I remember some of them behaving that way.
It's dependent on your directional input because if you don't have an input, I believe you're right. Actually, you get forced back. But if you hold down, you do lock, and it's an infinite scroll.
Kaesden, by the way, getting a mummy statue. I saw some phantom grabs. Like, you can be a pixel away from the statue and then get get into that grab animation without actually pulling the statue, which is super annoying. I interpret it as Link is trying to pull the statue with his fingertips and slips off them. It's like when you're trying to pull on something, but you don't have a good grip on it because there's just nothing to hold on to. I wonder if JD does second basement clip. I want to say no. I want to say they don't, but maybe that's just for races.
I'm not sure.
It's very hard to save time on second basement clip, even though it's actually an easier clip.
Yeah. And
well, it depends. It's for some people it's harder because they're trying to do an optimal clip without the cane. And then there's the enemies in the room, which make it a little more complicated. Let's see. Yeah, we got cane out, which means we're not doing it.
Yeah, there we go.
I wonder if JD knows this. When you're on that chest, you don't need to turn to the left to do the cane. You could just cane upward and it'll get placed on top of your body, and then your cane will still be on grid.
You do that, right? Because I just
Yeah.
learned that by watching.
Somebody told me that when I was running.
Okay.
You just have to not be lined up with the edge of the chest, so be a little bit like chest, slide into the chest a little as you open it, and then you'll get it every time. Ooh.
Oh, so
Kaesden?
Kaesden was being safe going around
Yeah.
to the pots, but the Baris got in the way. The Beeries.
Safety is a scam sometimes.
Yeah. Now that is Zelda.
Let's see if Kaesden tries to get a heart and then loses it immediately in this room.
Yeah.
This is a classic gain a heart, lose a heart room.
Yeah, Kaesden's having the full Zelda experience.
Oh yeah, let's go.
After that,
we're getting the heart.
tips.
we lose the heart first and then get the heart. I don't think that counts.
Oh, I like this bomb strap from JD. It's not.
I think
easy.
JD got bad RNG from the turtle that caused them to get off grid, and they adjusted into it. Because if you don't, then you get trapped in the pegs and you have to menu again, which is the worst feeling. Having to do extra menus is always the worst feeling.
Oh, and the door's open, so no key dash setup needed there.
Yeah, one thing I miss is the key dash.
Yeah.
You don't get to do the
we
key
dash
dash
up there. Yeah, we dash up there 2 times in this run, and neither is dependent on a key dash.
Velosaur is really nice in this category when you get to do it like 7 dungeons deep.
Yeah, it's funny. Kaesden had the advantage of Silver Arrow's fighting helmet, but JD has the advantage of Tempered Sword. And way more heart containers.
Yeah. The most extreme version of Helma is Mr. Buyer timed it that you don't really lose a substantial amount of time on certain routes, actually just doing it as your last dungeon, which is hilarious. So you do Aga 1 and then you run to pod and do it.
Yeah, that was a funny result.
Not on the route that JD is on, only on some other routes, I believe.
Oh, and we're gonna get this set up here. Is this bread pot?
Yeah, it's bread pot.
There we go. I love seeing the different... All right, nice water avoidance for Kaesden. Getting a fairy is not a bad thing. With this number of hearts, it might be a wash, but it does save on refill frames.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the I don't see people get fairies there, so it must not be actually a time save. But
I think it's more of a 100% strat where you have more heart containers.
I see. So it's good if you're doing it so late or you just have so much health that it actually does refill a substantial amount of health. You'll see some like maybe opportunistic fairy grabs in Castle Tower for the same reason. It's the fairy you avoid getting in NMG. You actually will hope that you get that fairy in AD, not because of safety, but because the refill is pretty significant. You come out of GT with very little health, usually.
Kaesden did the strat you described, but for some reason Kaesden passed it by, the tablet by.
Interesting.
All right, so now we're seeing Ether and Tablet, as I saw in Kaesden splits earlier.
Oh, this is Eastern First Dungeon Order. Hang on. Kaesden's doing...
well, what do you mean Eastern First?
Well, I mean, so Kaesden is doing mountain flippers.
Yeah.
This is not the classic early hook route where you do flippers from TR. No, actually, when I say Eastern First Dungeon Order, I mean the Kaesden got the hook shot, but has the dungeon order of the old Eastern First routing, or even the Escape First routing.
Yeah, the 2020 route. No,
yes, 2020. This is Desert before Mire, and then overworld clipping to swamp and ice, which is a sequence I love. I love overworld clipping just across the world like that, going from dungeon to dungeon. It's so satisfying.
And fun fact, it was also satisfying in one of the versions of Low Percent All Dungeons. Low
Oh
Percent
no.
Pearl, where you would go around the world in the dark world with no mirror. From Thieves to Mire to Swamp to Ice.
Huh. So if you don't have a mirror, I'm assuming that means you have to like die in swamp to get fake Dark World?
I'm not really describing it properly now that I think about it. Not really. I don't remember the dungeon order, but it was fun. It was different.
The Kaesden has a couple options, 3 options specifically to deal with the screen, and they're all terrible in their own ways. He's going for a strat we used to call plain ham sandwich, which is just walk around and lift the rock. Kaesden, you're on the wrong bump. I hope he's listening. Thank you. Yeah, so plain ham sandwich is just avoid the bomb clip to get out. There's also like a shortcut clip you can do that's kind of halfway there, and all of them have to deal with that stupid enemy. So like you just do the one that you like the best. What happened to JD? JD's just on a different route. I don't know. They did flippers early, so their dungeon order is slightly affected by that.
You think we're getting a spleed catch from JD?
No. It's a pretty good catch, actually. Yeah, it's
so
actually, the
Kaesden-
question is what happened to Kaesden. Kaesden had a hard lock early in the game, so it's
Yeah.
he's actually substantially behind.
Yeah, that's true, but Kaesden is ahead of his splits, which I'm not sure what the comparison is.
That's interesting. We're running against a 119.
Oh, never mind. I'm used to seeing the delta
Yeah, that's
on the
segment
left.
delta, yeah.
But
So
it's in the middle.
I'm seeing minutes, so like minus 10 minutes out of Hera, right? And now
Yeah,
it's
plus 10.
9:45. Yeah.
Okay, so now it's time for Ice Mirror app for JD. And they're gonna use mirror on the same frame as they hit the transition to the left. There we go.
A lot of different ways to do this mirror wrap now.
There are, yeah.
JD's taking advantage of the flippers, which you'll always have going into ice on any route that you do.
Okay,
I mean, I say Kaesden using lamp, yeah, that's different. Fire route would be optimal, I think. He's gonna use silver arrows in the fight, so he doesn't need the magic.
Oh,
Unless it's
that's
not
right.
optimal. Maybe it's refill optimization.
No, this is optimal. I forgot about this.
Okay, is this actually optimal for refill? That's insane.
Wait, no. I
Because
need
he's-
to look at that again.
We'll have to count the frames. Because when you do the fire rod, you're doing 3 fire rods. 2 light torches. Kaesden's also missing health just from the save and quit.
Yeah, I think the movement takes more time doing lamp than the refill frames, so I don't think it works that way.
He gets a gold split.
Nice.
JD's not showing splits at all, so we can't comment on golds. They're running a rando timer. Sometimes when you're in a race, you don't really want to think about your pace. Like, all they have to worry about is, like, they're ahead. You don't need to worry about how behind you are against yourself. JD, by the way, timed the big chest. Walking to the big chest versus hookshot is a wash.
I'm sorry, did you say hooking to the big chest versus walking?
Yeah, well, at least according to
Yeah.
their own timings, that it's a wash.
Yeah, I think in your review with Fox, I thought he timed it too. I remember it being
There
a
was
wash.
a lot of time spent in that room with Fox saying hookshot is usually bad, but then some debate about where should I actually be hookshotting in that room. Oh, we're doing beam strats. Wow.
Oh
This is
yeah,
like
that's
low
right.
percent strategy. Unfortunately, it seems to have thrown off their phase 2 timing.
Yeah.
They get to do a party anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think JD typically goes for this.
I wonder if it's worth
didn't
it
work
just for
out
the
this time.
refill to do a beam strat and then just do the like double poke dash anyway.
Maybe.
So for JD to have beams, they had to do a few things in ice that are different from usual. One of them is doing the left side dash clip into the Cane of Samaria strat, which is optimal. And then also switching to hook shot to get across the spikes, which is part of getting blue mail.
Hmm.
By the way, Kaesden has, I believe, saved time since the hard lock.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you just, like, ignore the hard lock, this is actually a really good run.
Yeah, it is.
JD doing some swim clips.
Yeah, I love this one.
Get the first try. When you don't get the first try, it can be really hard to recover. There's something weird about this slope where if you just swim straight into it, your first attempt at a swim clip is, like, free. Except when it's not, and then suddenly it's impossible.
Yeah, I love how you can see the bad edge in the middle of the screen, and you can see the top of the screen below you on the bottom half of the screen.
It looks
and
really
you can just
dangerous.
hop down into it.
It's actually just fine. There, you can hard lock there, but it's usually because your hop down doesn't actually like cross the Z transition. It puts you like on it, and then you have to save and quit to avoid hard locking. You would be soft locked anyway, so there's no reason to move around. Kaesden is in an interesting position of you need 11 arrows for the fight if you're doing all silvers.
Yeah.
So he might actually
have...
just do the NMG strat, even though he has silvers. He has plenty of hearts.
Yeah. Oh.
And
That was a little different, but it worked.
7's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
This is like Eastern, like a escape first almost.
I mean...
Oh, 8 hearts.
He has 8, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I can count. It's so many, I can't count to 8. It's like more than your heart total when you come in with basement clip routing.
He literally has countless hearts.
Okay, that looked a little dangerous, but it was fine. It does miss the 0 cycle, but doesn't run out of arrows. Actually, one of the consequences of Kaesden doing the lamps in Desert is that he didn't get the arrows you normally get there. Normally you pick up the arrow pot and then fire rod to the left, but he didn't. JD has been doing some really good crystal roller rooms. It's a really technical room. One thing I noticed is the dash turn on the pegs to avoid going up too far seems to be working really well for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Turtle Rock is nice. We don't need to see chain chomps. We haven't seen chain chomps in this league, have we?
No, I think the only time we ever saw chain chomps in a race was me accidentally opening a crystal roller room door. Oh, we're having a party. No. The party, I think, from the bonk. Actually, not bad for a party. Keeps you under control. We're not chasing the pokey. Alright, Kaesden doing the I think we call it like the safe Meyer exit.
I
You don't have
think
to.
that's the safe Meyer exit, yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to beat the Zora fireball. He does get lottoed.
Yeah.
Why does he have 1 heart?
Oh my gosh.
Well,
Wait, what?
the lotto does 2.
Oh, he must have picked a heart up
Yes,
somewhere.
where though?
Moblin.
A moblin. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm creating a ton of clips for ZSR, but
Are you clipping the
thankfully Twitch.
strats people are doing?
Yeah, I think Twitch does not save when you
Yeah, Twitch doesn't save when you're
start
just
them.
using the clip to look back in time. You have to save it now. It's finally. I'm so glad they did that.
Mhm.
So I'm very I don't know, particular about maintaining my clip collection and not having a bunch of like extra clips that weren't intended in there.
Yeah.
And not having to clean that up anymore is nice. Is it better to hook to that pot or to dash to it if you're gonna pick it up?
Oh, I just did a little bit of timing on that. I'm not totally. I'm not even sure I did it right, but I
Oh,
thought that hooking was better.
hooking feels better because you're just moving at full hook shot speed instead of dash water speed. Dash
Yeah.
water speed's pretty fast. I don't know.
It's
Usually
3. So it's. I mean, hookshot speed is plain faster.
Yeah,
Because
it's
it's
true. It's 2 pixels per frame.
Yeah. And dash speed slows down by 3/4 because it's 3. Well,
Okay.
not exactly, but when you're dashing, it's 3 pixels per
So
frame,
even in
not 4.
theory, it should be faster.
Yeah, and just in in theory,
The only
hook is
thing I could
faster.
think of where dashing would be better is if it sets up the rest of the room to not be blocked by an enemy.
Right, that's why I'm saying I'm not sure if I timed it right.
Alright, where's JD going? This looks like Ganon's tower.
It does look like Ganon's Tower. I think we're ready for Ganon's Tower.
Yes. There's so many clips on the mountain that it can be hard to remember where people are going.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it goes without saying, we get to skip the cutscene. It's time for Ganon's Tower. It's not the last dungeon, but it's the second to last, and Aga Tower is after.
Yeah, we do Aga 2 first and then Aga 1. And then we do Aga 0 at the very end. Oh, we got a bit of a spleed catch for Kaesden.
Nice. I love it. A third gold in a row.
Let's go. Okay, let's look at that sum of best 115.42.
Yep.
Sum of best is almost like more telling of a runner's skill in AD than PB, just because everyone's PB is a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
Oh no! JD gets the portal. I think it actually would have been faster for JD to just wait for the beetle at that point.
Yeah, at that point.
At least you get the arrows. Consolation prize.
Ooh, Kaesden has the spooky no
Oh,
music.
okay. JD gets had to react to the mini helmet not getting knocked off. I had a PB where the mini helmet knocks me off in that room for a while.
Okay. Kaesden, unfortunately, was too low, moving to the right.
Yeah.
That's
You
okay.
can't-
It's much better than hard locking.
You can be too. You can be quite low if you tap down after, but there is a point where it is too low even for that.
Yeah.
If you're afraid
Kaesden
of the
tap
hard
down.
lock, that can happen.
Yeah. Better to be too low than too high. JD now scaling Ganon's tower. I like this part of the run. It's always sort of an adrenaline rush. It's exciting. It's challenging. But there's not that much glitching until the top of the tower, and even then, it's an optional glitch.
And speaking of adrenaline rush, Kaesden is on save and quit health for ice.
Yeah, that's true.
It does have to do cold stairwell to avoid dying.
Yeah. Okay, he'll switch to hook shot.
Hook shot. To avoid a little extra damage. I mean, I think at that point you might as well just get blue mail.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason I like blue mails is I just like
Ooh.
having hook shot out in ice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Ooh. Alright. JD has tried to talk me into doing up arrows in here, and it's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I will use this race as a counter argument. Sorry,
Fair.
JD, I'm not convinced.
Yeah. Yeah, that's come up in Bitey's streams recently, and on ZSR as well.
Is Bitey pro or con? Up arrows in G3.
It's complicated.
Okay.
He says never do it, but
Okay.
it's awesome. And he loves
Bitey
to
is
do
either
it.
like all in favor of these things or like never do it, like mirroring and
Yeah.
vitreous.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Kaesden, comfortable Oko, cold stare.
Yes. Comfy. It was fine though. It was just a controlled 6/. Not a sarcastic comfy. It's just, you know, one hit KO.
This is somebody who has probably played Spoiler Pilot before and is used to
Mhm.
this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. I was 24 years old when I realized that you're not supposed to mirror at Vitreous in this category.
Huh. I hadn't considered that. It just doesn't matter, right? Like you're just dashing up. Wait. Oh, it depends on your route, doesn't it? What part of desert are you going to after? Because if you're going to the front of desert to get your key, then there's probably some quick warp that you can use the buffer
Yeah.
for.
But who goes to are people going to Oh yeah, people are doing that.
People
Okay.
not basement clipping checks.
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to do
yeah.
desert. What is this Moldorm pattern?
But they
Good
usually do
gosh.
desert first. It's because they
No.
you
They do
know,
desert
it just
first.
depends on the route.
Desert first is for the escape first routing.
Yeah.
2014 dungeon order.
Yep.
And then you don't mirror at all because you're just well, you do mirror. You just use it closer to swamp because there's another quick warp there.
Yeah, like you said, it's a modular routing in this category.
The number of routes is multiplied exponentially since the like
Announcement
long
of League.
stuff. No, like the long
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
came out.
Yeah. Definitely.
It went from like 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32. Like it's been proliferating even within one runner. Like ask Mr. Buyer how many split files he has.
What will he say?
he'll have to go and count them. He probably doesn't know. But he has a run in all of them because that's what he did before the league. He did a qualifier in every category,
Oh, that's right.
every route
yeah.
that he had splits for, and then I think made more since then, including one that pays Kiki. Oh, the classic bombs to mirror.
I'm
I
scared.
think I can't remember if Oh wow. Okay, so what JD did there was the clipe.
It was fine.
You can bonk that wall and you won't risk transitioning,
Right.
which would make you have to redo the dungeon. Puts you in Ice Palace,
Yeah.
but not in a useful way.
No, not
All right, Kaesden walk skipping because he plays cross keys and knows how to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dashable RNG. But we're slashing. I think most people don't try and read that RNG.
Yeah, I liked learning that.
I think it's
last
fun.
week. This
but
week?
I don't think it's like good. I just think it's fun.
I think it is good. I'm glad I learned it. Oop.
Well, that's an interesting way to like do. Like it worked, kind of.
Yeah, it did work. Oh my gosh, those Zoros.
Yeah, if you get those, that means you did the room slow.
What do you call them?
I call them soot balls after the
right.
What's the I think it's Spirited Away. There's I think they're called soot sprites, but in the soundtrack they're called soot balls, so that's what I think of. They look just like that. Okay, JD does a fire rod climb.
Yeah, the splash against the wall is another Yuzu thing that surprised me when I studied his route this year.
One of the downsides to fire rod climb is you do have to do something different in Circle of Pots.
Maybe an extra transition for Kaesden.
Oh, what happened?
He started going the NMG way.
What do you mean? You went outside?
Well, after you get the big key, you go back through the pipe and return to the previous room.
Oh, he didn't mirror.
We don't do that in this category.
Oh, that's funny. Well, it's better than the opposite, I guess.
Yeah. He got the big key.
It's not just the NMG way, it's also rando. I don't know how much NMG Kaesden does. I think he does a little bit of all of it. I think Kaesden has done some preset as well.
I mirrored there after getting the big key while I was in my NMG sub 130 grind.
Oh.
It felt kind of bad.
Were you like at that point like a sub 112 all dungeons runner going for those sub 90?
Sub 112.
Okay.
No, I was probably a high one teens all dungeons runner or thereabouts. But yeah, I got a little mixed up. Nice clip for JD doing absolutely nothing. We're getting a lot of blue balls for JD. Well, that wasn't so bad. I don't know the total. But next up is Ganon.
Nice thing in this category is you get a full refill for Ganon. All right, something went wrong for Kaesden's GT clip. I think didn't press up before going down, so got popped deeper into Tower of Hera.
So, JD in this league has had 2 runs that were 118s. We can potentially get another 118 tonight.
Is that? It's 117. Oh yeah. You're right. That's consistency. Their PB is a 115, but only recently.
Yeah, and in this category, it's hard to have a race where you're within a minute or 2 of your PB.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen too many race PBs this league, but we have seen them.
Yeah, we have quite a few PBs between races and in qualifiers. I think a lot of people caught up to their current skill level in qualifiers and then got really good PBs. In the race, it's just so hard for an individual run to go well that most races are not going to PB. Plus, you have that like RMG factor at the end, which I guess NMG has it in the middle. So, how many PBs do we see in NMG? Not that many either.
No.
The problem with all dungeons is when you do have a disaster, usually it costs 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah. All right, Ganon is down for JD.
Looks like we're not quite at the 118, but very close to it.
Yeah, close. GG's to JD for finishing this one and winning the race.
Another gold for Kaesden and TR, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool silver strat.
Yeah. It worked out. Yeah, there was a bit of a disaster in Ice Palace, where Kaesden was previously saving time since the DMA incident. And he lost a bit of time after that, but still, being no more than 10 minutes behind. So Kaesden forfeited from the race, but well played throughout. Like I said, keeping up with his normal pace was pretty good. And we are joined by Kaesden. Hello, GG's on the race.
Hello, GG's.
So obviously a mood was cast on the race after the infinite scroll. So
yeah,
that must have been a little challenging.
That was frustrating. I don't know what it is with like in my practice runs. That's like one of the easier clips there is to do. I never have issues with it, and every single race restream that I've been on for this tournament, I've had some sort of problem with either DMA or DMD every time. Clockwork. So the rest of the run mostly happy with. Like, I was gaining some time back. I'm never going to claw back 10 minutes, but it was decent. Got a few reasonable golds. So
yeah.
Hey, GG.
Hello, JD. Congrats on the win. And are you there, JD? Maybe
GG.
no. Oh, hello. So, Were you watching the race at all?
I had Kaesden stream up on the side, and I saw something happened. I don't know what happened, but a lot of time
DMA,
was
infinite
clearly
scroll.
lost.
Got a hard lock on DMA.
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected because it's a situation you don't expect yourself to be in when you're not in the right position at the top of the screen. Then jumping down has to be extra safe and hard to like know that or where to jump. So
I remember I made that mistake when I was like years ago when I was first learning overworld glitches, but I haven't seen a hard lock there in a really long time. So like I know it's possible, but I don't like remember what. I don't know. I guess I just found a way to make it consistent for myself. But my condolences to Kaesden though. Like that's. I mean, I know what it feels like to have something go extremely wrong in a race.
Yeah.
It's just
It happens. It's not the end of the world. You know, I just figure, oh, at this point, I'll just keep running. You know, at least get some reasonable splits in, and did that. So wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it looks like you got 3 golds in a row. So that's pretty good. How did you feel about that sequence, Desert, Mire, Swamp?
It all felt really good, honestly. Like it just everything went the way it should have. I little bummed I didn't get the 0 cycle on Argus, but you know, I'm just not super consistent. It's a hard trick, so
yeah. And JD, we've seen consistency from you at 118, 119 through your 3 races. So, but it's not too close to your PB. So how are you feeling about this run?
Yeah, I was gonna say consistently not good enough, at least to like my own standards, my own opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. So I don't know what was going on with me, but like sometime after, like sometime during like the mire, like, and then afterwards, my brain just stopped working. I like wasn't like focused enough to like execute as well as I would have liked to. And also, did you know that the bunny beam can beam you from through the rail? And I was trying to get the arrows in mire, and
We
I
were
was
both
like,
marveling at that.
Yeah, I was flipping out.
I was like,
I was a little annoyed, but I was also laughing about it.
Lionels can't shoot through rails, but bunny beams can.
I don't
know. That was something. So not a very good mire. Not a very good lot of things actually, but and like I didn't even have my splits up for this race, as you probably are aware, because I just didn't want to think about anything but the game.
Yeah.
And like in one of my previous runs, I had actually lost time with a save and quit mistake because I was trying to like undo the splits and then I like went to Link's house on accident, and that's like 20 seconds gone right there if you do that. If you go to the wrong spawn.
Sometimes you just have to like not think about things.
Yeah, it's good to find ways to stay focused.
It's like even just turning off your mic or not having extra stuff on your OBS can help a lot.
Yeah, I knew I was like I knew I was like behind my PB like even from the start, so I was like not really pushing too hard. Like I did a lot of like safe things that I don't normally do, and I just kind of wanted to get through it, to be honest. Like some of those I don't know, I just made a lot of mistakes, honestly. It was pretty embarrassing.
I wouldn't be embarrassed, but it's okay to be. But you know what we saw was pretty solid gameplay throughout. Like no major disasters or anything. Seemed all well controlled.
I was really happy about my front of ice. I did the clip with like very few buffers, and I got in the position like right away. I was really happy with that. I think that was like the best thing that I did in the run, probably, but I might be forgetting some stuff. And also, that Mothula fight got like way out of control. Like the conveyor was just not helping me at all, and
oh yeah,
it was
Yeah, that was
I think I
that was-
frame ruled the spikes a couple times there, maybe. I don't know. But
I've
didn't
been in
die,
that
so.
position where I just want that last hit. Just give me that last hit. And you you had 2 hearts and then you had 1 heart, and it's just like, why can't we get close to the boss? But you got it eventually. And Malmo reminded me that you had a fairy.
Yeah, closing the distance to Moth when you're trying to do anything with your sword out is so hard, which is true for also like spinning Moth in lower sword levels.
Yeah, I mean, I do take the fairy just because I do try to play safe, but like even if you have it, it's not like you want to use that. It's like a massive time loss. Like not as much as like actually dying, but it's still like 20 seconds to get fairy revived. So like I think it's better to just do a slow fight in that case than to just, play aggressive and then take the revive. Personally, that's the way I look at it.
And Kaesden, I want to ask you, you started AD very recently, right? So what do you
Yeah,
think of the...
I learned the run like a week before walls opened, so like I really enjoy it. I think the run is a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll ever push to the more complicated route that JD did. Like I'm kind of happy with what I'm doing now. I think the only thing I might change is to the Meyer, change up the back half so it's not all the 2014 route from Hera onwards. But other than that, like it's just been fun, and I think part of the problems I've had is I changed my strats so quickly. Like I started with the 2014 route, and then I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
well, I don't want to do the whole escape into Eastern vanilla sequence because it's just like it's just such a long bit of gaming before you start getting into the actual major glitches.
Yeah.
So it's like if I can get out, get the boots, and get the runs going, like then you're doing the stuff that makes the run fun pretty
Yes.
much from the start. So I changed that after like 2 runs and learned how to get out. It's like sometimes I get it really quick, sometimes it takes a little longer, but I've gotten pretty consistent. It's like, okay, I'm comfortable just making this my normal strat now. But yeah, no, I really enjoy the run. I think it's just a lot of fun breaking the game.
And JD, I've heard you have, you're pretty much done with this category for now, but will you come back to it at some point?
I'll have to see how I feel after some time has passed. I was thinking I might do maybe like 1 more day of attempts, doing like the full like Yuzuhara route, like with no bug net and no blue mail, just to try to push for another PB, but I'm really not sure. I was kind of getting burnt out, like practicing so much. Like I feel like, I don't know, I did practice a lot, but I feel like I really haven't like shown that I have been. Like it's not like super apparent. Like there's something like mentally, like seems like it's just hard for me to just kind of like focus it in and just get it done. But like this run that I did, I don't think it was that great, but it could have been a lot worse, knowing the category.
I think it's perfectly fine for a race, like to get a run like that.
Yeah. It is. You play safe, and a lot of the time you are, if you have safe strats, you're gonna stay alive. Other times it backfires on you because it's Zelda, but I've watched you using safe strats, and they keep you going, so that's good to see.
An example of that, backfire. Dude, I thought I would be clever and do like the fire dupes on Cold Stare, but if you like mess up the fight after that, like I think that was like more dangerous than just doing the fight normally, actually.
Right.
Because I had beams when I went in, and so I was like, let's just try this and see.
I think it has potential. I think it can be done in a way that's good.
The big thing when you're doing the fire rod dupe strats is you knock Cold Stare to the left. And when you knock him to the left, you get a lot more splash damage from your fire rod hits after that, and you can just kill him up in the left corner just as fast as a normal quick kill.
Well,
and
see,
it's super safe.
I was thinking that you're doing it for refill optimization, where you're not doing any fire rod strats in phase 2, which I think could be done. I don't know if
That
anything's
could probably
been
be
labbed
done
out,
too.
but it seems like if you are getting to cold stare on beams, that you could optimize the fight a little if you want to.
Yeah, I usually
Fucking
do because
frames.
like this route through Ice Palace is like a lot safer than like the NMG way. And if you do the left side clip and not do the bomb clip, then you're not going to be taking any damage unless you get unlucky with the berries or something.
Well, usually you take damage on the spike room, but if you have hook shot out, you don't.
Oh yeah, that's true. I had gotten so used to having hook shot out for blue mail to clip through the blocks that I figured you might as well use it in that room as well.
Yeah, definitely. And any other thoughts on the race or league or anything?
No, it was a lot of fun. I always enjoy League.
Good to hear. And yeah, thanks for racing. Any final thoughts from you, Malmo?
Nope. I hope you guys have a good rest of your journey through Link to the Past, wherever it may take you. I recommend, maybe Kaesden could get into Glitch Rando as well. I think that would be really fun.
That's been something I've wanted to look at for sure. Just see how far that rabbit hole goes. I don't know how far down it I'd go.
Well, a good start would be next year's HMG tournament, which is a really good starting point. If you already do the All Dungeons run, you already know most of the glitches.
Yeah. Probably just a few other overworld ones to brush up on, and then it should be pretty good.
Yeah, get a JKLOL league, glitch league team.
You could probably maybe convince Leo. I don't know if I've been trying to get Jesse to do an HM or an RMG run or something. He says he wants to, but he just hasn't pulled the trigger yet. So we'll see.
Alrighty, well, that will be it for us tonight. Give our owners a follow. Thank you to Malmo and Shexhuman for doing the commentary. Got plenty of action tomorrow on ZSR, including the first OOTR Season 8 qualifier that is at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.